I'm here with Rabbi Menachem Mendel Sand. This program is called Meaningful Interviews, which we talk to people who've had life experience and will share that life experience with us. So, this is my cousin, and I would like you to share with us your early memories, but before that, just give me a little family background of what you heard from your parents or your Zaydas and Bubbas, and then we'll go from there. Please.
I don't exactly know what background you want. My mother's name was Bryna Dalfin, her maiden name.
Bryna Dalfin.
She was the fifth child of 9. Her parents were Menachem Mendel, after whom I'm named, and her name was Toiba Dvore, my grandmother.
Okay.
They had 9 children. Shloime, Esther, Miriam, Rivke, Chaya Frede, Iju
is Yitzchak.
Yitzchak, right? Iju, Bryne, Moshe, and Yossel.
Kneina Hara, you remember the names.
That's the 9.
Okay, those are the 9.
If you want, I'll show you the picture of them.
Okay, but right now let's I saw the picture.
Yeah.
Now one second. Where did they live? Which city? Which village?
They came from Radovitz.
Radovitz.
Radovitz was in Romania.
In Suceava County.
Suceava. Yeah, it could be. So you know what Suceava is? Shots.
Shots.
Yeah.
Right.
In 1928, Shloime Dalfin came to America, opened a store in Dalhousie, New Brunswick.
In where?
Dalhousie, New Brunswick.
That's America?
Canada.
No.
Canada. He came to Canada.
Well, who said I?
No,
You said America.
you meant. You said
Oh,
America.
Yeah, okay,
Yeah.
okay. You meant Canada. No, yeah.
And he opened a store in there,
Shloime Dalfin.
Shloime Dalfin.
And
And
he
he started peddling.
right, and he was to you again. What was he to you?
He was the oldest uncle of my mother's brothers.
Okay.
He sold the store to his brother Moshe,
Okay.
and he went to Val d'Or, Quebec, and opened a store there.
Okay. And it was called Dolphins?
They were all called Dolphin.
Okay.
That's
And-
the only name they had.
Right.
Yeah.
And they were clothing stores, clothing
They
manu-
were all clothing stores, and they spelled it with an E.
Right,
not
Dalfin.
an I.
F-E-N.
Right.
Now, where they moved to, there was a lot of Yidden there?
No.
No.
There was no Eden.
No Yidden. The
Canada
Yidden,
was empty.
Yidden was in Montreal.
There were Eden in Montreal, but they
But,
didn't
right.
But in the 30s, even
They
in
didn't
Montreal,
go.
were-
to Montreal.
Then Lubavitch came in.
they
When
came-
Moshe Dalfin came over to Canada, he bought the store in Dalhousie from Shloime.
Okay.
When Shloime went, opened the store in Val d'Or.
Yes.
Moshe Dalfin was single. 1928, 29, 30. Uncle Morris, as we called him,
Right.
wanted to get married.
Moshe Morris. Yeah.
Yeah,
Moshe Mayer.
he didn't have
Familiar.
Yours
There
said
were no
now,
Jewish-
Sivan.
Aleph Sivan.
There were no Jewish women.
Yeah.
So he wrote a letter to Israel, to Radovitz, to
Yeah.
my father, Mayor, who had just married my mother, Bryna.
Yeah.
1930.
Said, come to Canada and I'll take you in for a partner. I want to go to Israel to find a wife. So my father and mother were given tickets and they came. They landed in Lévis, Quebec, in 1935. I was 2 years old. I was actually 1.5
One and a half.
or
Your
2
sister
years
was
old.
3.
I was the second child. My mother had a girl before me. Her name was Shanika.
Shanika?
Shanika.
Shani.
Her name was Shandel.
Shandel. That was a
Shandel
nickname.
was called Shani.
Shani. Yeah, yeah.
And Shani, in Romanian, they added a suffix ka.
Ka.
So everything was Shulika, Shanika,
Got it.
and
Got it. Verstehe.
they were met by my uncle Moshe, who took them to Dalhousie, where he lived, and they got an apartment above a store where they lived. They were married. Morris and Joe Yossel went to Israel. They came to Israel and they went in to eat to a Jewish restaurant that was owned by an Applebaum. He was a Polak. He had a younger sister who was beautiful, my Auntie Dina. She was waiting on the tables. Joe said to Morris, marry her or else I will. If you don't marry her, I will. So he took her and he married her. And Morris already had money because he had been in business in Canada.
Right.
He went to Yerushalayim and he bought a property. He bought a 3-floor building
Chova Hashmonaim Shmone. I
Okay.
sold it for him.
this was in Canada.
This is in Yerushalayim.
Yerushalayim. He bought it in Yerushalayim.
Meanwhile, Isaac, who came over after Shloimeh, became a peddler. Bought a horse, went around peddling, and made a lot of money from peddling. 5 years after, he went back to Radovitz to visit his father. He came home into his father, opened his pockets, took a lot of money, and plopped it all on the table.
What a
And he
story.
says to my grandfather, Tate Sedans.
It's yours.
He says to him, "Wus meinst du Sedan? Die gehst und wohnst wegen zwischen de Goyim allein und du machst de Geld und du bringst es zu mir. Sorg dich nicht, ich mache Leben. Ich hab ein Lager."
I don't need your money.
Yeah. A lager was a wooden,
Yeah, the wood lot.
a woodlot.
Yeah, lumber. Yeah,
Yeah.
lumber.
In the meanwhile, the oldest daughter, Esther, married Yisroel Tenenhaus. They had 4 children: David Dutsiu, Neti, Moshe Moshku, and Shulika, Shulamit. The second one was Shloime had Arnie, Shirley, Hilda, Mendy, and Buddy. 5 children. Then came Miriam. She married Moshe Lehrer. Moshe Lehrer was a London. What? Ask me what I mean.
What do you mean? Usually
didn't
allowed
make
to
a
mean the
living.
total. Huh?
He didn't make a living.
Oh,
A London he was.
he was a Torah scholar who didn't make a living. Okay.
He had 2 children.
Moshe Lehrer and Auntie Miriam had 2 children.
2 boys.
David Dutziu and Mendel.
Menachem.
Menachem.
Menachem Mendel.
They were supported their whole life by the brothers and sisters. I recall like today, every month they came to my father and he took out money and he gave for Miriam. Chaya Frede, Auntie Clara, married, what was Uncle Jack's name? Jack.
Jack
No,
Jack Hutman.
Hutman.
the Hutmans. That's small.
He
Small
came
small.
from
Right.
Sutra, Kinshasa.
For sure, Sushuchava. Yeah.
They were very wealthy. They had a store that sold glass.
Okay.
He stood in the store with a pot, and people that came to buy put money
Into the pot.
into the pot, and that's how they made a living. Auntie Clara married Uncle Jack. They had 6 children.
Mady.
Mady, Mendy, Monty, Harry, Molly,
And Sammy.
and Sammy. Molly was named Malka, after my late grandmother, my father's mother, who had died.
Right.
So that's why she was named,
Malka.
yeah. I know all of them, and not only did I know them all, but we were all very, very close.
I want to ask you a question for
Yeah.
a second. Do you have any memories of of Romania? Do you remember street?
No,
Nothing?
Was
0.
A year old.
It was a year old. A year old.
Yeah.
9 months.
Yeah.
Oh,
No,
over a year.
I don't remember anything. I remember stories.
Right. Right. But your earliest memories
When
of Canada.
Canada.
My mother and father were married in 1930.
Right.
My Zeta, my mother's father, prepared the whole wedding, everything. And 6 weeks before the wedding, he dropped dead,
He died.
died. Ask me what he died from. He died from an anahora.
That's what they say. Yeah.
That's
okay.
what they said.
But what was the medical condition? You don't know.
When he dropped dead, they ran to get this woman who knew the utzusprechen and anahora.
Oh, to break an anahora.
And she brought the intergelation keulen.
She lit the coals.
Yeah. Didn't help.
It didn't help.
He died.
Right.
My parents were married in 1930. There was a story you probably heard. My Zeta Mendel, after who I'm named, was in the First World War. In 1916-18, he left a wife and children in Radovitz. They came in 1916 to my grandmother and told her, your husband died. And they brought him his watch. And the guy says, I took it from him while he was lying dead on the battlefield. My grandmother heard that. She ran, they were Vishnitzer Chasidim. She ran to the Vishnitzer Rebbe and she said, when do I start sitting Shiva? Vishnitzer Rebbe says, you don't sit Shiva. He says, why? There's only one aid. There's only one witness. You need two witnesses
Right.
in order
To determine
to-
someone
Right.
dead.
So she didn't sit Shiva. My Zayde was on the Baduir, and he was very well known. The moment that it happened, all the towns started sending food to my grandmother.
Mm-hmm.
She had a house full of kids, 9 kids, just lost her husband. She sent the monk to them, she sent it all back. She wouldn't take it. She says, ich hat 2 Hände.
I have 2
She
hands.
started to take in laundry. And the family helped with the laundry. And
Made a living.
that's how they made a living.
Okay.